What is up, you guys? This is All Day Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you a build breakdown video for Loki. So before we get started, I'd like to give a big shout out to Demetrius for going out of his way and donating um, so that I can get Loki and play him and make this build for, just everyone. So a really big shout out, and I'm very appreciative about this. So thank you, man. So let's go ahead and take a look at his skills. So under his traits, on Master Sorcerer on offense, his base damage, he gets 25% to his summon power damage, and then his two main attributes are durability and intelligence. In the arcane shield and defense, he gains 1750 maximum health, 20% to defense and dodge rating multiplier, and plus 600 to the defense and dodge rating base rating. And then he gains close quarters. When you hit with a melee power, you gain 8% damage reduction for 3 seconds. And then under the mechanics, Lord of Lies, some powers can summon illusions of yourself, which will fight enemies for a short duration. Maximum illusions, well, technically it's 3, but you can add on up to 6 illusions in your talents. Summon durations is 10 seconds. Illusion stats, the illusionary strike damage 2588 to 3881. Summon health is 50% of your max health. Damage reduction is 70% damage reduction. So the skills that I'm using Spirits of the Dead. Here, let me turn off my talent so you can actually see exactly. So Spirits of the Dead, Permafrost Spikes, Asgardian Light, Eternal Flame, Unyielding Power, Misdirection, which is your teleport, Illusionary Projection, and Arcane Binding. So by the way, this build is mainly just for the trials, not necessarily for everything else. You can use it in your regular farm build, but it will be a little slow versus, instead of using something like Arcane Binding, you would use Staff Blast or Spatial Deception. But for trials, I would definitely recommend using Arcane Binding over the others. So now for the talents, you're going to use Maker of Mischief, so that way you can get another 25% to summon power damage, and the summon duration lasts 25% longer, and you also get plus 3 maximum illusions, so you get 6 illusions in total. Then you're going to use Refracting Burst. Oh no, not Refracting Burst, you're going to use Frost Nova. What Frost Nova is going to do is it's going to turn Asgardian Light into Cold Snap. Cold Snap will always critically hit, and not just that, but it's also going to freeze your enemies for 2 seconds. And then you're going to use Light Column. So what Light Column does, it's going to turn Permafrost Spikes into Hard Light Spikes. Hard Light Spikes makes enemies more vulnerable to Loki's illusions and enchants Graham. Well, we're not going to worry about Graham, so. And then the next one is Eternal Darkness. Eternal Flame transforms into Eternal Darkness. Eternal Darkness terrifies enemies when activated. So this will definitely come in handy because it's always going to keep your enemies CC'd. So, and the last one is going to be Cold Front. So Cold Front, it says Misdirection transforms into Cold Front. Cold Front does not apply stealth anymore, but grants a damage absorption effect and deals damage to nearby enemies. You can either go with Cold Front for the more defensive perk, or you can go with Searing Embers if you want to turn that Spirits of the Dead into a fire ability. So Searing Embers fires 3 projectiles per shot and enchants Graham. So this will technically put out more damage. If you want more defense, you can go with this. If you want more damage, you can go with Searing Embers. Don't worry about Dark Bolt because you're not going to be using that. So now for my Infinity Points. So in my Cosmic Trials, I actually just went with the main attributes for more damage. So I went with Intelligence and Durability. But for my Omega Trials, I went with pretty much 50-50 in micro orbs and gravity well. And then you make sure you can try to at least get 100 points. I mean, if you can't, that's fine. You want to maybe get at least 50 points into the time gem, because I'm not worried about the attack speed or movement speed. I mean, those do help as well, but I'm worrying more about the plus 50 bonus you get. It says when you use a medkit, your dash powers gain a charge, and I mean, in Omega Trials, you're going to be trying to dodge as much as possible. That's why I tend to put up to at least 100 points into my dodge, or into the time gem, so that way I can also have an extra dash or additional teleport, plus the medkit. Being able to recharge my dash definitely helps so much. And then the reason why I put points into microbes and gravity well is because Omega Trials, you're going to be facing against enemies that are obviously going to hit super hard, a lot harder than they do in Cosmic. That's why in Cosmic I didn't really worry about the my defensive, because I was able to avoid it and not worry about getting one-shotted, and just, you know, I wanted to put out more damage or just get it done as quick as possible. But with the Omega Trials, you're definitely going to want to make sure you put something into your defensive perks. So now for my inventory, I pretty much, in Cosmic, I did it all in pretty much all purples. And then my artifact, I used the cybernetic implant, and I used a relic of Gibran. For my Omega Trials, pretty much the same stuff, except I ended up getting this from one of my boxes, and I've already had this ring. I kept it just in case. I didn't know. I've had this ring since the beginning of Omega difficulty being released, so this definitely helps out a lot for Loki, +4 durability and +4 intelligence. The artifacts I would recommend is definitely Broken Crown. Hand of Doom, not so much, because it doesn't give you durability. I would probably get the Circlet of Sidorak, or Advanced Circlet of Sidorak, because of the fact that it gives you, I believe, +4 durability, and it can give you a shield. And Tombstone's artifact as well. I think that can go up to like a total of 6 durability when everything is procced. Gem of the Curse is definitely a really good one to have, no doubt. There's I guess I can't think, maybe Modoc's. Yeah, Modoc's headband is also a really good one as well. Anything that really gives you, I would say, +4 intelligence or +4 durability would definitely be a good asset, a good artifact to have. Hand of Doom is definitely a good one because of the crit hit and brutal strike. So, and then I'm using Complete Relic of Subterranea for, this was for my Omega Trials because I needed the extra defense. And then the Catalyst, make sure you really want to make sure you have a Catalyst that regenerates 25% of your max health. And not just that, it's going to also regenerate 100 spirit when you use your medkit, so that's going to help you so much with being able to sustain your spirit. And then also you want to have the cosmic part of it saying gain a damage shield equal to 50% of your maximum health when you use your medkit. That's going to help a lot. And then the mystical bonus is a plus. When your health drops below 20%, become invisible for 15 seconds, and it's a 15-second cooldown. So this for me was is a really good one to have. And then also when you take 4.5%, I don't think it's 1 to 5% less damage from area powers, which is pretty nice. My medallion, I'm using Caecilius medallion. When you hit with a magic power, gain 1007 damage magic powers for 10 seconds, and it's a 0.5-second cooldown. So what this means is it's gonna stack, the damage is gonna stack, so it'll stack to about 8,000, 9,000 damage, magic damage, and after 10 seconds it, the damage resets, and it's a 0.5 second cooldown between each time it stacks. So, and then my legendary, I don't have a legendary item because I don't have enough legendary marks, but the legendary item I would go for is the what's it called, the Warlock's Eye. Pretty sure, okay, there's none here, but yeah, I would go with the Warlock's Eye. The reason why I would go with Warlock's Eye is because all of Loki's stats are magic, pretty much magic based, except for Spatula Deception and Gram, but everything else is pretty much a magic ability, and meteoric illusion isn't magic based either, I guess. But yeah, everything else other than those three are magic based, and you're going to be using everything except for those three with this build anyways. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the abilities, what they look like, and I'll explain how I kind of went along with my trials. So this is going to be X. It's going to be the ability that's going to it's going to do damage over time, and it's also going to immobilize your enemies, keeping them in one spot. And then you have your fear ability, the Terrify, it does damage over time as well. And then you have your summons, so it spawns 3, and then you're gonna have to spawn it again, so now you have 6. So the first 3 is gonna disappear within like 5 seconds before the next one disappears. And then my circle ability is gonna let the summons do more damage. And then L2X, you're gonna spawn this orb over your head. So when I change it, I'm gonna change the talent real quick to the fire one. It's gonna shoot out 3 at a time now. But I think it's shorter. Yeah, it's a shorter duration. But either way, it's still fine. And then you have L2 square, which is it's gonna freeze the enemies for a couple seconds, which definitely helps out if you're getting overwhelmed or if you're trying to trap the enemies around. And then you have L2 triangle, which is your signature. I don't necessarily know what exactly the signature does. It says your chilling presence as a god among men brings enemies to crawl. They crawl while they wither away because it fears. Apply empowered to yourself and all nearby allies. Damage 25,570 twice per second, and it's an 8-second duration, 45-second cooldown. You're immune to crowd control. Your damage rating is increased by 600. Defense rating increased by 1500. Buff effect empowered. You get a 40% damage buff bonus. That's really nice. So it pretty much just buffs all your damage, and I'm pretty sure it also affects your summons as well. And then this is your dash ability. As you can see, you get a ice armor on yourself for quite a bit. So the way I go about with my trials, the way I always normally do this, is I try to get my enemies grouped up. You know, I'll go to a smaller group. I'll just go to a 1 person. So pretend this is like a big group of enemies. If they're on the outside of you, you just want to try to, you know, go around them and then just keep circling them. That's why you have immobilize as well. So you can do that, and you have the terror to keep them terrorized. And then you have your summons. Sometimes I think the summons can also keep aggro as well. So that'll definitely help out. Oh, well, he died fast. So it'll definitely help out a lot, keeping the enemies terrorized. And then you would also freeze them, immobilize, keep the summons out to keep aggro and whatnot. Sometimes you'll get the stragglers coming out to hit you, like the bosses will ignore your summons. So, but that's pretty much it with my Cosmic and Omega trial build video. I will be working on Loki a lot more now that I have him in Omega. I'm going to be trying to get him through and get him gear. I mean, not get him through, but get him gear and whatnot. Hope I get lucky with the sets that I would like to go. But that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know down in the comment section, or you can message me on Twitter at alldayanyday1. If you have any other build ideas or anything, if you want to see me make a melee build or just a straight range build with no summons in it, then I will definitely be doing that as well. I mean, I'm gonna do that regardless, but right now I think I'm just gonna focus on the summons. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is All Day in a Day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.